is Aarti Khetarpal and I welcome all our viewers to a new episode where we talk about how cinema globally, be it Indian cinema, all world cinema, moving gradually into cinema that is oriented not just on the main actors but also on characters, story, which build up an entire film. Whose cap dons many feathers is Divya Dutta, and also an actor all directors bank on. Divya, thank you so very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Another personality that we have with us on our show today is Mr. Aushim Khetarpal. From being a sports promoter, producer, actor, to now being a spiritual healer. He's seen the society in different moods, different positions, and definitely getting deeper into the psychology of the youth. Thank you so very much, Mr. Khetarpal, for being on the show. So today's episode, basically, Divya, is about how I know that you're a psychology student, and I know that you play you play your characters so very well. So do you get into the psychology of the character, or do you observe a lot and then you like, okay, see, I know the society very well, so I can play this character better?
Interesting question, Aarti. Well, I remember you asked me yesterday if I'm a psychology student, and I was asking you how you know that. And you said, I think all actors know that psychology thing, but I genuinely am a psychology student. But saying that, I think what counts more is how sensitive you are to your surroundings, how observant you are, how much you absorb what's happening around you. Like I'm sitting with you, I will see how you're behaving, what's happening, how you're interacting with Aushim, how you're talking to people. And somewhere, just, whatever I need to take back with me, I will take back. And something that intrigues me about you will stay with me. And much later when I do a film or something and I need something, it just comes. I think it is what you call a subconscious memory that you have as an actor, where you kind of like, I remember for Bhag Milkha Bhag, what came to my, I wouldn't say rescue, but what really helped me was that my mother was a doctor in a rural area. She was a civil surgeon. I used to see patients there with her, coming from villages, and I was like a kid that time. And I saw when she asked them, what happened to you? They wouldn't really, they were shy. They wouldn't really express themselves. Everything would come through tears. And as a kid, I used to wonder, why don't they talk? And then when I'm offered this role, Isri Kaur, I saw her strengths, her weaknesses, everything came through her eyes, her tears. And that's when I just, connected back to childhood, that these are the ladies I've seen in Punjab. And that's where it just came around. It helped me. So I think it's how you observe, how you keep those people around you, and as I said, sensitive to those, and make them your own. When I am in front of a camera, I will leave aside Divya and I will become that for that time. It's lovely to just play somebody else for that brief period, but then live it totally, 100%.
But like they say, an actor is like a sponge. They absorb so much that doesn't it get too heavy on themselves? I mean, there's a lot of burden that we're carrying. Does it affect you?
Initially, when I had just come in, I didn't know how to just disconnect. So everything that I used to shoot used to go back home with me. And I remember I was doing Bagban, my first film with somebody I totally look up to, Amitabh Bachchan. And I was very nasty to him in that film. And I remember I did my shots very well. But I went very upset back home, and my mother said, what happened? Why are you so depressed? And I said, I don't know, I'm very sad. And I realized I was like depressed because I hadn't been so good to somebody I would really like to put my best foot forward with. And but I didn't know how to disconnect. So that was the sensitivity of Mr. Bachchan. The next day he realized that this kid is like really not gotten it right somewhere. She's like mixing the two things. So he was so lovely to me. He was kind, he was generous. He got gachaks for me and he was just patting me, pulling my leg. I laughed and I realized, and I started observing him, how he disconnects and how he brings himself 100% when the camera's on. So now gradually I think I've learned, and with the kind of roles I do, if I start taking them home, I would be a nut. Totally.
You're out of the nut now.
Well, I am a nut, but not that much.
You're the good nut.
I'm a good nut.
Coming to you, Mr. Khetarpal, you have a lot of callers who talk about their psychological problems and how they absorb their surroundings and how it's difficult for them to get out of that shell because maybe they've been through different experiences in their childhood. And you as an outsider, I mean, it's very commendable that they just open up to you and they confide in you. Then it becomes your responsibility to make sure that their experiences are either taken care of and they come out of it. How do you deal with that?
It's a very interesting story to this. In Shirdi, हवन चल रहा था, and he says कि, can you see something? I saw Baba and I saw myself in that havan. I was scared. I said, I can't do this. People fall on my feet. I can't do this. He says, you know, the biggest thing what a master does is he doesn't preach, he heals them. Why you are the one who's been chosen by him is you are not doing act properly. I said, I don't believe in this. He says, you've got to heal them, you have to carry them along. हर आदमी का अच्छा टाइम आता है, but that time the master with his blessings will just heal them and take them through. So when he has the good time, things will change. Till that time you have to keep on listening to phones. And that shook me. And I said, what he was talking was, and that man I could never see after that. But that changed my life. And I came back and started doing these shows, but there was a different feeling because we feel कोई आदमी ने किसी से बात नहीं करी ठीक से, हम उसके पास स्ट्रेच नहीं करते, अरे उसके सर्कमस्टांसेस होंगे कि उसने बात नहीं करी. Don't leave that person. Be with them all the time. That changed my life.
But it can get taxing also.
It is, but then someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. So if I get 400 calls a day, what is the work I'm doing? I'm basically doing the work of a doctor. Free of cost.
Yeah.
So but someone's got to do it. So I'm up at 6, sleep at night, 12. I keep on listening to calls all across the globe. And why? And they get all right. It's not that someone's getting all right from cancer, some paralysis, and I know this has nothing to do with me because they're staying in the aura of the master. So this, otherwise, I've been a marketing person. I've never seen the country go to a master like this. It has never happened in 14 years. What has happened with Sai has never happened in anywhere in the world. All I'm just saying is that yes, everyone has to, and very important from celeb's point of view, people who are there in the industry, because the whole country looks up to them. Country looks up to her. She's been a fantastic actress. It's her responsibility. If she takes it on her, it's my responsibility to give it back to the humanity, to whatever I can give him. Do the seva. Automatically, the word, I have seen it. I've seen millions of people just doing the dua for me. That saved me.
I remember I'd come to Delhi only a few years back, and this young boy came up to me and he said, Madam, I really love your work. You shouldn't do negative characters, it feels bad. You should only do nice ones. But I think that same audience has given me a place which doesn't have an image anymore. Which I think they give me that freedom to experiment as much as I want to with the kind of roles I want to do. It's a very special place that I've been given, and I feel very fortunate that I have that, and I'm making the best use of it and trying to be as diverse as possible, and that includes the dark characters that you're talking. But I enjoy them so much that my audience has started enjoying them with me, knowing that I'm just playing a character. They've seen enough of me off screen, so they know, okay, she's just playing a role, and they don't take it that seriously. Neither do I. But in the whole larger picture of the film, I give it my darn best. And I was doing Chalk and Duster with Shabana and Juhi, and it wasn't even a grey character. It was dark. It was black. She was all negative. And it was the first time I was doing something like that. But then when I was with Shabana, I was like, I must give it my best. Why should I feel कि मैं थोड़ी सी अच्छी हो जाऊँ? The role doesn't require that. So I just gave it what I thought needed to be given. And that my role stood starkly in contrast with Juhi and Shabana ji. So, and that really helped. And people said आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. They never said कि आप तो वही हैं. So yeah, and I think the audience has become more sensible, more intelligent. They know how to kind of differentiate between who you are and what you're playing.
But I'm sure in your interviews and everything, when people see you play your normal self, but I'm sure when you started your career, did it come in your head that नहीं मुझे अभी negative character नहीं करना है till the time they don't see enough of me?
उल्टा हिसाब था. I wanted to do everything, and the makers wouldn't give me negative roles because they thought, oh, you're such a sweet kid and such a lovely smile and a beautiful face. How can you look negative? So I thought it's not about how you look and how you are, but how you portray something. And that, I think, when challenges are put across to me, I really like to, just go all out and just grab them. So if you say no to me, I really want to know why, and why can't I?
So you push it.
I push the envelope.
Also, when it comes to public dealing, because public dealing is when people get to see your real self, and God forbid that time if you lose your calm, if you lose your patience, and you're at your wit's end. That's all exactly what the public is going to see. How do you control yourself by not losing it? Or have you lost it before in public?
I think we're all natural, normal people.
Yeah.
We do lose our tempers, but I think we're all responsible enough to see that you're not doing it where it should be done. And if it has been done, then you kind of, make up for it, and there's a justification for you doing that. Sometimes things just are not in your hand and something has really gone wrong. Then I think I am assertive and I can be a little aggressive, but I don't think I lose my temper there. But I make my point very clear, and I think that's a good balance too. I'm a Libran, so kind of balance it out as to what I need and how I need it, and the way I need to say it. So I don't think you have to really shout at people to get your points out.
Diplomatically.
I'm not a diplomat. I'm very blunt. I say things, but I say them in a way that nobody should mind it, I guess, because I don't think I say anything galat.
I like the confidence. Also,
I love it.
also the fact that shifting into a space where you're considered a life healer, life coach, you're only human. So you also lose your calm, and there are times when you're at your worst, and then people come with their bag of judgment that, hey, in the morning you are healing people and you're talking to them, and then by afternoon, evening, you lose your calm. That's not acceptable, or there's no room for it. How do you justify that?
I never lost calm on my inabilities. I've always lost calm on people who've been told to do things and it's for their good. I've always lost cool on that. Whatever crisis I've gone through, I stay very calm. So that's something which I've never lost cool on. And I was just listening to her. She said a thing that she puts across a point very well. Very few people in the industry put across the points very well. They would shout, they would rant. You've got to be firm, affirmative. And she said the right thing, yes.
What was your mindset before being an actor? You from Delhi and upbringing and all of that, and your transition from Delhi to Bombay. What motivated you to go through the no's that we get as a struggling actor to becoming an established one? And then what kept you going? Was it the change that you were desperately looking for, or was it the craft that you wanted to be in, or was it the legacy that you wanted to leave, or was it the money?
So I lived 3 years of my life in Delhi, and the rest I was in Punjab. And somehow it was always, the stage always kind of mesmerized me. It was like, I need to be on the stage and people need to just look at me. And that applause that worked, because when I did my first play as a child, my school teacher, not knowing that I am my mother's child, was sitting right next to my mother, and she said, "Abhi ek ladki aayi, usko dekhna." And my mother later told me your class teacher was praising you. So that kind of got on to me that I need to do that. So I was an ardent Bachchan fan. I used to tear my mother's saris and dupattas, and I used to dance on Bachchan songs, and I used to invite all the children from the neighborhood, giving them the bribe of samosas and gulab jamuns, and tell them, listen, you sit and you watch me perform. So that's how I started.
You bribed them to watch you perform.
Yeah, I was like everything because किसी का homework होता था, किसी को कहीं जाना होता था. I said forget everything. There's samosa and gulab jamun at home, and then I'll dance also.
You were all pro. You were like मैं ही set up कर दूँगी अपना audience भी मैं ही बुला दूँगी मतलब crowd puller.
So yeah, I mean that worked, and then
Enterprising kid, enterprising performer.
So when I reached there, I thought it's a bed of roses because you come from a very protected background. यहाँ पे सब आपका ध्यान रख रहे हैं, आपके parents हैं, आपकी family है. But when you're in Mumbai, you're on your own, and a very strange thing about the industry is that nobody says no to you. At least when I came in, nobody said no to me, and yet nobody meant it, whatever they said. So I trusted everyone, like whatever, and I thought I had signed 22 odd films, whereas none of them started. So I used to howl back home. I used to call my mother up, and she used to be in Punjab, and I used to tell her, Mom, I mean, nothing started, and this and that. And one final day, I just looked at Sai Baba's picture. I said, listen, if you want me to be here, you better do something. Otherwise, I'm packing my bags and going. Believe it or not, the next day I get an offer for train to Pakistan, and that kind of made me stay there forever. I stayed there. I took my pictures to Pamela Rooks, and she said, I don't like your pictures at all. I was like, there you go, this one's also gone. She said, but I like you as who you are without makeup and whatever. And I was on for the film, and that film kind of opened doors for me to all the makers I really wanted to work with. But yes, saying that there are lots of rejections in the industry, there are lots of no's. What you need is a very strong family that kind of you can come back home to, or a good set of friends who give you that grounding that you need, that hey, this is not the end of the world. Otherwise it can get so crazily depressing to hear a no every time, because the world's not out there to look over you. You have to look over your own self. So you learn it with trial and error. You fall, you get up again, but it's your journey at the end of the day, and it just proves how strong you are and how much belief and faith your family has in it. But I think my mother had this inherent faith in me that if she wants to do something, I stand by her. So she did. And I remember when I used to come, and I had just done 2-3 pictures, so I used to come back home to Punjab. So all those, some people would come and say, oh, she's the daughter who's gone to films. Which movie? So my mother would very excitedly tell them this film and that film. Acha, we haven't seen. So that phase, and I could see that little hurt on my mother's face. Then she used to write poetries, and I remember there was this poetry called Akhbar, which kind of had this thing which said, I read the newspaper every day. Aaj phir akhbar aaya hai, lekin isme meri beti ka naam nahi hai. And I wait for that day when she'll be on the headlines. So and then the time came when I was on the headlines, when I won lots of awards, when I got the roles she would be happy seeing me in. And yes, so there has been like the family and friends who look up to you. But I'm still somebody who, when I come back home, as mad as I always was. I haven't changed at all. Yesterday I went to my family house, and they had locked it up because it was shut. So I got a ladder and I went up, and I just climbed up as I used to in the childhood, and they were all like, "Arey, wo actress ko dekhna, wo chad gayi upar."
Kya
मैं तो चढ़ गई ऊपर. I don't care. It's my house.
When we think about you, Divya, what is that one thing that makes you unique from anybody else in the world? Like you as an actor. I mean, if you think about Shah Rukh Khan, we think about branding and marketing. Nobody brands, he's made a brand out of himself, which a lot of people follow. When we talk about Mr. Bachchan, it's his, I mean, there are so many things, but one thing you cannot forget is, of course, his command over his language and his knowledge and his wisdom. When we talk about Salman Khan, we'll think about his swag, his confidence, and just, his winning attitude. One thing that you are very well aware about, and it's an honest confession, I would request you to...
But I think this is for the audience to tell me. Like, you're saying it from the audience perspective for all these gentlemen you've just spoken about. So it's better that you tell me how you see me, and then I can tell you, okay, but this is my secret.
What is that one thing that you are very sure about is me?
I think I'm a supremely confident actor, and that doesn't go anywhere. And there are lots of directors of mine who thought, okay, this role is not for you, and I have like gone and said, no, this is for me, because it's not just a confidence. Confidence can be wrong as well. There's sometimes an inherent faith and an intuition as well. because I won't go for a role that I don't think I'm fit for. But if there's a role that I know I can do very well, but the directors go by your previous films and they are limited in seeing how you are, then I go that extra path. I don't mind going up to my directors who I want to work with. Like I remember for Sriram Raghavan's Badlapur, he hadn't thought of me for the film at all, because there's so many women in the offering any which ways. There's so many actresses being pitched. So and then I told him I want to do that role and I believe you're casting for it. And I didn't really know him. I don't know why I did that, but it was pure intuition, because I thought I want to do that role. And I hadn't read it, but I am very strongly intuitive, Aarti. That I talk to you, I gather what is my strength. I'm very intuitive. I know what's right for me, what's wrong for me. And when people ask me how do you choose your films, it's because of intuitions. If I make friends with intuitions, I bond with people with intuitions. I go a lot by vibes, and I think I'm blessed that way.
I made a cardinal mistake, and I'll tell every newcomer, never to refuse even a 2-minute role if it's offered to you. And he was very, very correct. If you have the ability, you have to keep on doing the roles. People will watch you, and one day you will get there.
So the key points that we're taking away from this episode is indeed patience, perseverance, and endeavor, and do it with your head up, come what may. Keep your confidence intact, and for more motivation, keep tuning in to events and episodes like this. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Divya, and thank you, Aushim ji, for being a part of this series. Our viewers will definitely love watching and hearing your journey and taking from this episode. Thank you once again.
You so
this is Aarti Khetarpal signing off.